Welcome to Britain Reimagined. What if everything you thought you knew about British military history was only half the story? And what if the legendary commanders who truly forged an empire were the ones whose faces history has forgotten? In this episode, we brought back 20 greatest British military leaders who conquered the world using AI, restoring their battle-hardened faces, uncovering their strategic brilliance, and breathing life into the voices that commanded armies across centuries. You'll discover Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister, who rallied a nation against Nazi tyranny, Duke of Wellington, the Iron Duke who crushed Napoleon at Waterloo, and Admiral Nelson, the naval genius who died securing Britain's mastery of the seas. Tell us, whose portrait should we bring back to life next? What forgotten military leader from history deserves to have their story told? Leave us a comment. Stay with us until the final portrait. A commander who changed everything, yet one history barely whispers about.
Number 1.
Churchill was the British Prime Minister through its darkest hours during World War II. Known for his stirring speeches and defiant spirit, he inspired a nation to stand strong against Nazi Germany. Beyond the war, he was also a writer, historian, and Nobel Prize laureate in literature. His career spanned decades, marked by both triumphs and setbacks. Despite political controversy, his leadership during World War II cemented him as one of Britain's most iconic figures.
Number 2.
Arthur Wellesley, the first Duke of Wellington, was one of Britain's greatest military commanders. He is best known for defeating Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, a victory that ended years of war in Europe. A strategic and disciplined leader, Wellington earned the nickname the Iron Duke. After his military career, he entered politics and served twice as Prime Minister. His legacy lives on in British military history as a symbol of resilience and tactical brilliance.
Number 3.
Nelson was Britain's most celebrated naval hero, known for his bold tactics and fierce leadership. He led the Royal Navy to major victories during the Napoleonic Wars, most notably at the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805. Though outnumbered, he outmaneuvered the French and Spanish fleets, securing British naval dominance. He was fatally shot during the battle, but lived long enough to hear of his victory. Nelson became a national icon, remembered for his courage and devotion to duty.
Number 4.
Richard I of England, known as Richard the Lionheart, was famed for his bravery and leadership during the Crusades. He spent much of his reign abroad, fighting in the Holy Land, where he earned a reputation as a skilled and honourable warrior. Though often absent from England, his legend grew through tales of chivalry and military success. He died from wounds sustained in battle and became a symbol of medieval kingship and valour.
Number 5.
Anne Marlborough was a brilliant strategist and one of Britain's most successful generals. He led Allied forces during the War of the Spanish Succession, winning key battles such as Blenheim and Ramillies. His campaigns reshaped European power dynamics and elevated Britain's role on the continent. Though politically controversial, his military legacy was undeniable. His descendants, including Winston Churchill, continued to shape British history.
Number 6.
Montgomery was a key British commander in World War II, best known for his leadership at the Battle of El Alamein. His meticulous planning and insistence on preparation led to major victories in North Africa and Europe. Often called Monty, he was admired by his troops and played a crucial role in the D-Day invasion. His leadership helped turn the tide of the war, and he remained a respected figure long after the conflict ended.
Number 7.
Drake was a daring English sea captain, explorer, and naval commander. He was the first Englishman to circumnavigate the globe and played a leading role in defeating the Spanish Armada in 1588. Seen as both a hero and a pirate, he raided Spanish ships and ports during England's rivalry with Spain. He died during an expedition in the Caribbean, but his exploits made him a legendary figure in Elizabethan England.
Number 8.
Alan Brooke was Chief of the Imperial General Staff during World War II and one of Churchill's closest military advisors. A master strategist, he helped shape Allied plans and coordinated forces across multiple fronts. He was known for his calm under pressure and deep understanding of warfare. Though less known than frontline generals, Brooke's behind-the-scenes leadership was essential to Britain's success.
Number 9.
Alan Brooke was Chief of the Imperial General Staff during World War II and one of Churchill's closest military advisors. A master strategist, he helped shape Allied plans and coordinated forces across multiple fronts. He was known for his calm under pressure and deep understanding of warfare. Though less known than frontline generals, Brooke's behind-the-scenes leadership was essential to Britain's success.
Number 10.
Kitchener became a household name during World War I, famously appearing on recruitment posters with the words, "Your country needs you." He had earlier led British forces in Sudan and South Africa and served as Secretary of State for War. His sudden death at sea in 1916 shocked the nation. Kitchener's image and legacy came to symbolize Britain's mobilization during the Great War.
Number 11.
Known as Clive of India, he played a key role in establishing British control in India. He won the Battle of Plassey in 1757, securing Bengal for the East India Company. His actions laid the foundation for British rule in India, though his legacy is controversial due to corruption and exploitation. He returned to England wealthy but troubled, and his life ended in scandal and suicide.
Number 12.
Moore was the British general who created the world's first modern light infantry and led the heroic retreat to Corunna during the Peninsular War. Born in Scotland, he revolutionized military training by treating soldiers as thinking men rather than automatons, emphasizing marksmanship, physical fitness, and independent initiative. During the Peninsular Campaign, Moore's forces advanced into Spain but were forced to retreat when Napoleon personally took command. His fighting withdrawal to Corunna over harsh winter terrain saved his army, though Moore was killed in the final battle. His tactical innovations and leadership style influenced military thinking for generations.
Number 13.
Slim was the British general who led the Forgotten Army to victory over Japanese forces in the Burma campaign during World War II. Born in Birmingham, he served in World War I before commanding Indian Army units on the northwest frontier. His greatest triumph came at the battles of Imphal and Kohima in 1944, where he decisively defeated Japanese invasions of India. Slim then launched his own offensive, recapturing Burma through innovative tactics combining air supply, jungle warfare, and coordinated assaults. His soldiers called him Uncle Bill for his genuine care for their welfare and his common touch.
Number 14.
Campbell was the Scottish general who commanded the Thin Red Line at Balaclava and crushed the Indian Mutiny with methodical precision. Born into poverty in Glasgow, he enlisted as a private and rose through merit to become one of Britain's most respected commanders. Campbell later became commander-in-chief in India during the 1857 mutiny, where his careful planning and tactical skill restored British authority. Known for his care of soldiers' welfare and his Scottish common sense, he never lost a battle in 40 years of service.
Number 15.
Havelock was the British general who became a national hero during the Indian Rebellion of 1857 through his relief of Cawnpore and march to Lucknow. Born in Sunderland, he served for decades in India, mastering local languages and studying military history between campaigns. Despite being heavily outnumbered, he won a series of victories through superior tactics and the devotion of his men. His advance to relieve the siege of Lucknow captured British imagination, though he died of dysentery just after entering the city. His combination of military skill, moral authority, and Christian faith made him a Victorian icon of imperial service.
Number 16.
Wolseley was the Victorian general who modernised the British Army and led successful campaigns across the Empire. Born in Ireland, he was wounded in Burma, the Crimea, and the Indian Mutiny before making his reputation in the Red River Expedition in Canada. Wolseley's greatest triumph was the lightning campaign up the Nile to relieve Khartoum in 1884, though he arrived 2 days too late to save Gordon. As Commander-in-Chief, he introduced sweeping military reforms, including officer education, merit-based promotion, and improved conditions for soldiers. His administrative genius and colonial victories made him the embodiment of Victorian military professionalism.
Number 17.
Abercrombie was the Scottish general who restored British military reputation through victories in Egypt and the West Indies. Born in Clackmannanshire, he served in the 7 Years' War before commanding forces during the French Revolutionary Wars. Though mortally wounded in the victory, Abercrombie's triumph helped end French dreams of Eastern Empire and restored British confidence after years of defeats. He also introduced crucial military reforms, emphasizing discipline, training, and care for soldiers. His combination of tactical skill and humanitarian leadership made him a model for future British commanders.
Number 18.
Brock was the British general known as the Hero of Upper Canada, who secured early victories against American forces in the War of 1812. Born in Guernsey, he served in Europe before being posted to Canada, where he prepared defenses against potential American invasion. His partnership with Tecumseh and native warriors created an effective alliance against American expansion. Brock was killed leading his troops at the Battle of Queenston Heights, but his early victories had secured Canadian survival and established him as a national hero in both Canada and Britain.
Number 19.
Wolfe was the British general who captured Quebec and secured British control of Canada, dying at the moment of his greatest victory. Born in Kent, he distinguished himself as a young officer in European campaigns, before being chosen to command the expedition against Quebec in 1759. Wolfe's daring night assault up the cliffs to the Plains of Abraham caught the French completely off guard. In the subsequent battle, both Wolfe and Montcalm were mortally wounded, but British victory was decisive. Wolfe's death in the arms of victory became one of the most famous scenes in British military art and secured his immortal fame.
Number 20.
Wingate was the unconventional British general who pioneered special operations and long-range penetration tactics in Burma during World War II. Born in India, he served in Palestine, where he organized Jewish night squads against Arab insurgents, developing unorthodox tactics that emphasized surprise and mobility. Though casualties were heavy, Wingate's operations proved that the Japanese were not invincible in jungle warfare and provided valuable lessons for later Allied offensives. His eccentric personality and mystical religious beliefs made him controversial, but his innovative thinking influenced the development of modern special forces worldwide. They commanded armies that shaped the destiny of nations. They strategized, fought, and died for victories that would echo through eternity. Some defended the realm against invasion, some conquered distant lands, others simply answered duty's call. From Churchill's defiance to Wellington's triumph, from Nelson's sacrifice to the Lionheart's crusade, these 20 commanders forged the British Empire with courage, tactics, and unwavering resolve. History reduced them to monuments and textbooks, until now. Which military voice called out to you across the centuries? Which forgotten battle now stirs your heart? Tell us in the comments, because to remember them is not just to learn, it's to honor. If their courage inspired you, leave a like and subscribe, so together we can restore more legends time tried to silence. At Britain Reimagined, we don't just retell the past, we bring it back to life, one hero at a time.
Hello, and welcome to Britain Reimagined. What if the greatest acts of courage were completely forgotten? How many lives were changed by heroes whose names you've never heard? And how many of them died thinking no one would ever remember? In this episode of Britain Reimagined, we bring 20 forgotten British war heroes back to life, using AI, restoring their faces, honoring their stories, and uncovering the silent moments behind history's loudest battles. You'll meet faces like Edith Cavell, the nurse who died saving others, Jack Cornwell, the 16-year-old who stood alone under fire, and Walter Tull, the footballer who led in war, despite a world that tried to keep him silent. Stay with us to the end, and you'll meet a name time tried to erase, but you won't be able to forget. Number 1. Albert Ball was one of the most celebrated fighter aces of the First World War. A fearless pilot, national hero, and symbol of youthful gallantry. Flying solo missions with deadly precision, he achieved 44 aerial victories before his death at just 20 years old. He was admired not only for his skill in combat, but for his quiet humility and chivalrous spirit. Albert Ball's legend, part patriot, part romantic hero, endures as one of Britain's most iconic figures of early aerial warfare. His story, both inspiring and tragic, captured the imagination of a nation and helped define the heroic myth of the skies. Number 2. Edith Cavell was one of the most courageous women of the First World War. A British nurse, resistance figure and quiet symbol of defiance. She helped over 200 Allied soldiers escape German-occupied Belgium before being arrested by German forces. Despite global pleas, she was executed, facing death with calm dignity and unshaken resolve. Her story shocked the world and turned her into a martyr for humanity and mercy. Edith Cavell's legacy lives on as a timeless reminder of moral courage in the darkest hours. Number 3. Noel Chavasse was one of the most decorated and selfless heroes of the First World War, a battlefield doctor, Olympic athlete, and recipient of the Victoria Cross twice. He saved countless lives by crawling through shellfire to reach the wounded, even after being gravely injured himself. Chavasse died after one final act of rescue, choosing duty over safety. His story, both heroic and heartbreaking, remains one of unmatched devotion in British military history. Noel Chavasse became a lasting symbol of courage, sacrifice, and the will to serve beyond all limits. Number 4. Henry Allingham was one of the last living veterans of the First World War, a Royal Navy airman, RAF founder, and witness to a century of change. He served in the earliest days of aerial warfare and lived to share its memory with new generations. In his final years, he spoke softly but powerfully about the price of war. Allingham's incredible lifespan turned him into a voice for remembrance, peace, and enduring human dignity. Number 5. Wilfred Owen was one of the most powerful poetic voices to emerge from the First World War. A soldier, writer, and unflinching witness to suffering. His verses revealed the raw horror of the trenches, shattering myths of glory. He died in combat days before the armistice, never seeing the peace he longed for. Owen's legacy, brutal, beautiful, and mournful, defined the emotional cost of war. His words, timeless and aching, gave voice to a generation silenced by battle. Today, his poetry stands as both warning and memorial to the human cost of conflict. Number 6. Jack Cornwell was one of Britain's youngest war heroes during the First World War. A teenage sailor, steady in chaos, an emblem of quiet bravery. Wounded during the Battle of Jutland, he remained at his post until the end. His calm under fire inspired a nation desperate for hope. Cornwell's image, solemn and steadfast, became a symbol of youthful honor. His short life, lived with dignity, echoes through British naval legend. Even in silence, his courage spoke louder than words ever could. He was laid to rest with full military honors, a boy who became a legend in death. Number 7. Elsie Knocker was one of the most daring women on the Western Front. Born in Exeter in 1880, a nurse, frontline medic, and breaker of convention. She worked close to the battlefield, saving lives with fearless urgency. Known for her boldness and defiance, she earned fame across Europe. Knocker's name became synonymous with courage in the face of chaos. Her story, part legend, part trailblazer, reshaped the role of women in war. In every wounded soldier she reached, she challenged what bravery could look like. Number 8. Geoffrey Woolley was the first British Army chaplain to earn the Victoria Cross. Born in London in 1892, he was a man of faith, battlefield leader, and voice of calm in crisis. He held the line at Hill 60 under relentless fire, refusing to yield. Wounded and outnumbered, he inspired those around him to stand firm. Woolley's strength, spiritual and physical, defied the boundaries of his role, did conviction and courage in figure into the Number 9. Arthur Proctor was a man whose courage bridged war and faith. Born in Bootle in 1890, he was a stretcher-bearer, chaplain, and recipient of the Victoria Cross. He ran into no man's land to rescue the wounded, risking death without hesitation. After the war, he devoted his life to service in the church. Proctor's legacy, humble and heroic, lives on in both battlefield history and spiritual memory. His actions, rooted in compassion, defined bravery in its purest form. He proved that quiet devotion could shine just as brightly as battlefield glory. Number 10. Ernest Seaman was one of many ordinary men who became extraordinary in war. Born in Norfolk in 1893, he was a porter turned soldier, machine gunner, and reluctant hero. He held his ground during a deadly assault, protecting others until his final breath. Posthumously awarded the Victoria Cross, his name joined Britain's Roll of Honour. Seaman's life, once quiet and unnoticed, became a symbol of hidden strength. His story reminds us that greatness often comes from the humblest of places. In the chaos of war, his quiet courage stood tall. He died with no fanfare, but history would remember the depth of his sacrifice. Number 11. Alan Kerr was a Scottish officer who made a legendary last stand. Born in Edinburgh in 1883, he was a loyal soldier by duty and symbol of defiance. He held off waves of enemy attacks with a single machine gun and a handful of men. Refusing to surrender, he bought time for others to escape. Kerr's name, carved into the story of valor, endures as an icon of resistance. His stand determined war's most remarkable moments. Through he turned the history. Bravery was recognized with the Victoria Cross, a will that left a deeper mark. Number 12. Robert Quigg was one of the most selfless soldiers to serve during the First World War. Born in Bushmills, Northern Ireland in 1885, he was a rifleman. He went 7 times as officer, bringing back wounded men each time. Despite exhaustion and danger, he refused to give up until all hope was gone. For his actions, he was awarded the Victoria Cross and honoured across the British Isles. Quigg's courage was not loud or boastful. It was steady, personal, and unwavering. He returned home a hero, but carried with him the weight of those he couldn't save. Number 13. Walter Tull was one of the most remarkable figures to emerge from the First World War. Born in Folkestone in 1888, he was a professional footballer, pioneering officer, and symbol of quiet strength. He broke racial barriers by becoming one of the British Army's first black infantry officers to lead white troops in combat. Serving with distinction on the Western Front, he earned praise for his bravery and leadership. Tull was killed in action in 1918, and his body was never recovered. Through both sport and service, Walter Tull carved a legacy that still inspires today. Number 14. Field Marshal Frederick Roberts, known affectionately as Bobs, was one of Britain's most revered military leaders. Born in Cawnpore, India in 1832, he was a decorated commander, national figure, an enduring symbol of imperial duty. He gained fame for his leadership during the Second Afghan War and the March to Kandahar. Later, he became Commander-in-Chief of the British Army and a guiding force in military reform. Even in retirement, he continued to influence military policy and morale. His death in 1914 marked the end of an era of empire and tradition. Roberts's legacy, steeped in loyalty and leadership, left a lasting imprint on British military history. Number 15. Lieutenant General Colin Campbell was a respected leader and battlefield veteran of the British Army. Born in Glasgow in 1792, he rose through the ranks with grit, discipline, and unwavering loyalty. He is best known for commanding the Thin Red Line at the Battle of Balaclava during the Crimean War. Campbell's leadership was marked by calm authority and deep care for his troops. His legacy endures as a symbol of steadiness under fire and honor in command. In both action and character, he embodied the quiet strength of a soldier's soldier. Number 16. Sir Douglas Haig was one of the most prominent and controversial commanders of the First World War. Born in Edinburgh in 1861, he was a cavalryman, strategist, and eventual commander-in-chief of the British Expeditionary Force. He led British forces through major offensives such as the Somme, Passchendaele, and the 100 Days Campaign. Haig's legacy remains complex, admired by some, debated by others. In history, his name stands at the heart of both triumph and tragedy on the Western Front. Number 17. Field Marshal Sir Edmund Allenby was one of Britain's most successful commanders of the First World War. Born in Nottinghamshire in 1861, he was a cavalry officer, strategist, and leader of the Egyptian Expeditionary Force. He is best known for his bold campaign in Palestine, culminating in the capture of Jerusalem in 1917. Allenby's blend of discipline and daring earned him respect from both allies and adversaries. His legacy endures as a symbol of decisive leadership in one of the war's most complex theatres. In both strategy and stature, he reshaped Britain's role in the Middle East. Number 18. Admiral of the Fleet David Beatty was one of the Royal Navy's most dynamic and recognisable leaders. Born in Cheshire in 1871, he was a daring commander, reformer, and face of British naval power during the First World War. He led the battlecruiser fleet at the Battle of Jutland, where his aggressive tactics drew both criticism and praise. After the war, he became First Sea Lord, modernising the Navy and shaping post-war maritime policy. Beatty's bold personality and flair set him apart from his contemporaries. His legacy lives on as a symbol of both the glory and complexity of naval command in a changing era. Number 19. Field Marshal Sir Claude Auchinleck was one of Britain's key military leaders during the Second World War. Born in Aldershot in 1884, he was a career officer, tactician, and respected commander across the British Empire. He is best known for his leadership of the 8th Army in North Africa, where he halted Rommel's advance before El Alamein. Though later replaced, his efforts laid the groundwork for Allied success in the desert. Auchinleck was deeply admired by Indian troops and later served as Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Army. His legacy is one of steady command, cultural respect, and calm under pressure in a global conflict. Number 20. Major General Thomas Fairfax was one of the most influential commanders of the English Civil War. Born in Yorkshire in 1612, he was a nobleman, strategist, and key leader of the parliamentarian New Model Army. He led decisive victories at battles such as Naseby, earning a reputation for discipline and tactical skill. Though loyal to the cause, he opposed the execution of King Charles I and later withdrew. Fairfax was known for his integrity, restraint, and commitment to principle over power. His legacy endures as a soldier statesman who shaped the course of English history with quiet through mud. They stared into fire with their but history. No crowns, no medals in glass cases, just courage, sacrifice, and silence. Some returned broken, some never returned at all, and some were never truly seen, until now. Which face stayed with you the longest? Which forgotten hero found their way into your memory? Let us know, because remembering them isn't just honoring the past, it's giving the unseen a voice. If their stories moved you, leave a like. And subscribe, so together we can continue resurrecting lost lives, one face at a time. At Britain Reimagined, memory becomes legacy and the past comes back to life.